On Friday night, received a phone call from an anonymous female person reflecting she was being assaulted and money was being requested by another person in the unit.
Her name was Drew Douglas, a doting mother to 4 children, the youngest just a month old, who will now learn to live without their mum.
It's all a bit of a shock, really. I just feel so sad for the lady that's lost her life, really.
It's been about 2 years. We've been friends with them. They moved into their nans. She was a lovely lady. They all were, the kids, the mum, the dad.
But this morning, the street outside her St Mary's home was filled with emergency vehicles, and inside, the 34-year-old lay with multiple stab wounds, dying.
Police immediately provided medical assistance, performing CPR. Ambulance attended shortly thereafter. Unfortunately, that woman passed away at the scene.
Her partner, Sean King, drove himself to Campbelltown Police Station. His car later towed for forensic testing.
The man has not been interviewed at this stage, still currently in custody.
10 hours before Drew Douglas died here, police received a phone call from her partner, Sean, claiming he was concerned for his welfare. But for whatever reason, police did not attend. By the time they were called to the property a second time, it was too late. Exactly what was said in that initial call to police is now part of a critical incident investigation into the police response.
I'm not aware of any threat of violence. The call was made by a man.
But still the question remains, why didn't they attend? Does that have anything to do with the police shortage? Is there anything you can say about that now?
In regards to that timeline, as to what took place last night, that timeline leading into this morning will certainly be very, very strongly looked at.
Drew's sister Jade says her family has been ripped apart. I'm broken, shattered and numb. My sister didn't deserve this.
A Western Sydney grandmother is dead, allegedly killed by her ex-husband in a suspected domestic violence rampage in Rooty Hill. Christine Rakic was found dead last night by police after neighbours heard screaming. Her former partner remains in an induced coma with apparent self-inflicted wounds.
A devoted grandmother, mother and aged care worker who friends describe as a beautiful soul, Christine Rakic, found dead in Rooty Hill. Tonight, her ex-partner, Dusan Rakic, is in a coma with critical injuries that police suspect are self-inflicted.
A loud scream from next door, a woman's voice.
They'd been separated for about a year. Police are treating this as a murder investigation and believe Christine is the latest victim of domestic violence.
It's pretty scary. I've seen him around, but yeah, I don't really talk to him much at all.
The 54-year-old's family telling 7 News she didn't deserve to die like that. Not even an animal deserves to die like that. Christine Rakic is the 30th Australian woman to be killed so far this year.
Sadly, in our organisation, we're dealing with domestic violence every single day.
7 News understands Dusan Rakic was known to police and had faced charges before. Christine Rakic had taken out an apprehended violence order, but sadly, it didn't protect her.
I've been policing for 35 years and domestic violence has been a dominant feature of my career, almost my entire career. It still remains that way now.
Police expect Mr Rakic will make a recovery. When he does, he'll likely be charged with murder. Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
On November 27, 28-year-old Becky was found at a unit in Warrnambool with head and spinal injuries. She was flown to Melbourne, her body covered in bruises, hair matted with blood and with 2 black eyes. 7 days later, her life support was turned off. Her partner, 41-year-old Paul McDonough, has pleaded guilty to manslaughter.
There's no remorse, there's regret because he's been caught. That is it.
The court heard Becky had been in contact with domestic violence services, and in the days before her death, she was preparing to leave McDonough for fear of being killed.
The only reason she was at the house that day was because she thought he wasn't going to be there. He was locked up. And then that Monday came around and he was let out on bail. The system definitely failed her.
In a series of text messages read out in court, McDonough said, "Come home, babe. I promise I won't start on you. I'll pay for a taxi." Becky responds, "I don't like who condone or act violent towards women. I don't deserve it." Her family today is speaking out in the hope of saving other victims of abuse.
There's so many re-offenders out there in the world that get away with it time and time again, and there's still not hard enough punishments.
Paul McDonough now awaits his sentence. The prosecutor told the court McDonough's prospect of rehabilitation is low as he suffers from a cluster of mental illnesses, including schizophrenia, and his behaviour can't be controlled.
Nothing can bring Beck back and nothing can make it better, but if something can come out of it today, that would be, what we want.
Friends say Dana Isaac could light up a room with her smile.
She's a nice, really nice lady.
The 28-year-old killed inside her Penrith apartment yesterday, allegedly at the hands of her partner, Paul Sultana.
It's terrifying because we just moved here just a few days before.
Dana's burnt-out car was found in Castlereagh, 2 suburbs away. Police suspect Paul dumped it there after leaving her unit. Officers tracked the 32-year-old to his house in Cranebrook, calling for backup before moving in. The heavily armed Tactical Operations Unit shutting down Robinson Street, negotiating with Paul for over an hour before taking him into custody. Specialist officers on scene today, sifting through the house, searching for evidence as his family watched on. The couple had only been dating for a few months, but had been friends for longer.
We were aware of him, but not in relation to a domestic violence relationship with the deceased. There was other incidents of domestic violence with other victims.
It was Paul's mum who found Dana yesterday afternoon walking into her apartment when she didn't come to the door. The alarm raised when Dana wasn't there to pick up her 2 young girls from daycare. A neighbour had called police earlier in the afternoon after hearing a loud argument. When officers arrived and nobody answered, they left. The neighbour telling them they saw a man leaving the apartment not long after the dispute.
Police were informed that there was a disturbance at the premises and they did attend.
Family and friends today remembering Dana as a beautiful soul, always a ray of smiles and laughter, a friend to everyone and an amazing doting mother.